An unexpected musical high here in Paris, an award-winning documentary revealing a crisis in Brazil's public art sector and the literary renaissance reviving a Portuguese village. That's all coming up in today's show. First, Paris looks like a film set at the best of times. And during lockdown, its empty streets and silent monuments have become the perfect stage for a series of special events. Cellist Camille Thomas played a concert from her rooftop during the first national lockdown in the spring. And this time around, she's taken her performances to a much grander stage. Monty Francis has more.
It began with the first national lockdown in France last spring. To cope, the cellist Camille Thomas performed on the rooftop of her apartment building in Paris. A concert for her neighbors, a way of sharing her music.
Everyone shares this solitude, and we're waiting for the crisis to be over. I think the few songs I could share from my roof reached a larger audience thanks to social media, thanks to YouTube videos. It's emotional for me because I could feel the response of the audience even though I was alone on my roof.
Reaching a larger audience is a bit of an understatement. This video, shot by her husband, has more than 4 million views on YouTube. This grand response gave Camille an idea for the second national lockdown to perform in cultural spots deserted by the public, like Versailles, the Institute of the Arab World, and the Musée des Arts Décoratifs. On this day, she's recording a new video in another empty and enchanting place, the Natural History Museum and the spectacular Gallery of Evolution.
It's really moving to be in the middle of this empty place, which can resonate with music.
This extraordinary project she conceived and financed herself, with the museum's permission and her volunteer director.
We have to fight today, and emotions can be like weapons, so it's good to use them to try to make the world a better place.
It's all about sharing, in fact. It's what gets me up in the morning, and it's the flame that burns on the inside to share music.
The music is helping others who are looking for inspiration during their isolation and finding it in a creative spirit, expressing her art.
Now to a film that captures a country in turmoil and a cultural sector teetering on the brink of collapse. Ressaca has just won the International Emmy for Arts Programming. This documentary zooms in on the crisis facing Brazil's artists and performers. Filmed in 2018, it pays witness to a time when public employees had gone for months without receiving their salaries and institutions faced an uncertain future. Director Vincent Rimbaux told us why Rio de Janeiro's opera house and its staff are a microcosm of the wider challenges in Brazil.
Atenção, senhoras e senhores, para comunicado importante. Os servidores e funcionários deste teatro vêm a público informar que estamos dispostos a continuar servindo ao público com nossa arte, com 3 folhas salariais em atraso, e chegamos ao limite de nossas forças, possibilidades e dignidades.
I found out that the principal male dancer at the Opera House, Felipe Moreira, who's an incredible artist and athlete, was working as an Uber driver. He danced in the daytime and drove a cab at night. When I heard that a ballet dancer was working as a taxi driver, I decided to immerse myself in this opera house, quite literally, with my camera.
A gente nunca achou que essa crise ia chegar na gente. A gente nunca imaginou que o salário iria ser cortado, de fato.
It's an oasis in the middle of the city. Rio's not just beach and samba, it can be harsh and violent.
qui peut être dure et violente.
É minha primeira casa. Eu vivi mais no teatro do que aqui em casa. Se eu sair do teatro, eu vou me sentir mal. Eu vou para onde? Cemitério.
La ville est toujours
The city's a victim of its clichés.
prisonnière de ces clichés. On la montre tout
We
le
always
temps,
see the same
tout
things:
le temps,
bright colors, the
toujours avec
beach,
des
football.
saturés, la plage, le football. Et vraiment, je voulais
I
sortir
wanted to
de
get
ça,
away
des
from those clichés.
rituels qu'on voit tout le temps. Et comme on parlait de
And
crise
since we
aussi,
were making a
pour
film
moi,
about a moment of crisis,
c'était évident qu'il fallait
shooting
qu'on
in
fasse,
black and white was the obvious thing to do.
en noir et blanc. Alors, c'était pas
It wasn't about making the story more stylish, it was about how I was working with the images.
une manière de travailler, de travailler l'image aussi.
Rio de Janeiro!
Não existe vida sem arte, sem cultura, sem educação. A gente não pode deixar o prédio do Teatro Municipal, essa casa fantástica, fechar as portas e falar assim, ó, estamos fechados, não vai ter mais nada.
Alors, parfois, ça pouvait être,
People are sometimes judged for leaving, as if you're fleeing a sinking ship.
le bateau en pleine tempête. Mais pour des danseurs.
But for dancers of that level, not being able to perform, not dancing, is really a tragedy. So they have to leave,
Donc en fait, ils sont obligés de partir.
because there aren't really any more performances to speak of.
C'est très difficile.
It's very, very hard for the arts and those working in culture in Brazil,
Qui, dans son immense
because most of them are critical of the government, and anyone who's critical of the government here is put in the same box.
Toutes les personnes qui sont
They say they're
au
communists.
gouvernement sont considérées comme, on les met un peu tous dans le même sac et on dit simplement que ce sont tous des communistes. Voilà. Et c'est un peu
It's a
dommage
real
parce que
shame
le
for the
secteur,
industry, even if you only look at Brazilian cinema, which was very dynamic in recent years.
très dynamique au Brésil.
We're going to Portugal for this next report, where one small town north of Lisbon has undergone an artistic renaissance thanks to books. Óbidos was known in the Middle Ages as the Village of Queens, thanks to some royal connections, but had recently fallen into disrepair. Tourists are now flocking to this picturesque city and its new literary scene. Anaïs Guérard and Sarah Morris went to find out more.
At the heart of these fortifications, there are just 80 residents, but 2 million tourists walk around here every year. A town laden with history that has become internationally famous thanks to books.
This is our bookshop, our biological market bookshop, and one of the most popular in the historic town.
Since 2015, Óbidos has formed part of UNESCO's World Heritage List.
We transformed old buildings that had no function, and we created bookshops in order to revitalize the economy.
An idea born in this church. 10 years ago, it was falling into disrepair when the mayor called on José to turn it into a bookshop.
On n'avait pas des limitations, mais on ne devait pas exposer des livres du Marquis de Sade, par exemple, là. Je pense que la librairie a sauvé l'Église. Ce sont les livres qui ont sauvé l'Église.
This book lover's strategy was to bring back classic works for the pleasure of the visitors.
A little bit quiet and it doesn't have too many people, so it's peaceful.
But it feels like a church?
No, I don't think so.
A few steps away, the Literary Man claims to be the largest literary hotel in the world.
We start around 30,000 books. Now we have 75. And it was big donations for several organizations like universities, like Gulbenkian.
An exchange system which allows the town's visitors and its residents to discover works from the four corners of the world.
And there's lots of books in English. That's handy. It's like living in a bookstore. This is very different from anything else I saw in Portugal.
With coronavirus, foreign visitors are rare. But here, books allow people to keep on travelling.
A glimmer of hope now after seeing the challenges faced by Brazil's ballet dancers, with a look at a new generation pushing themselves to the peak of performance against all the odds. A new documentary series from Disney Plus goes behind the scenes at the School of American Ballet, following the young athletes and artists hoping to make it in the world of classical dance. We'll leave you with a taste of that show on Point. Remember, you can get more arts and culture on our website. We're also on social media. There's more news coming up on France 24 just after this.
Okay, girls, here we go. Dancing is kind of a sense of freedom.
I looked at that calendar. It's about to get real.
Ballet is an unforgiving art form.
It's my dream to prove that I deserve to be there.
When you're on point, you forget about what's happening and just be free. I want to do ballet for my whole life.
The dancing, the music, the costumes, the sets, I can't live without it.